my name is
Yeah.
Esele once again,
Yeah.
and I'm a financial professional. I'm really, really passionate about money, very passionate about educating people, very passionate about, helping people go from, not knowing anything about financial planning to, getting to that point where they have plans in place, automated savings, name it. So I would say for me, to growing up was the same thing. Like my parents never ever sat me down to say, okay, come and learn about money.
Right.
There was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. But I remember when I came into Canada in 2016, I came in as a student. I was working, I was working like three jobs.
Oh my
And
God.
all of a sudden, like there was a day I didn't even have $10 in my account. And I was
Bills.
like, but I've been working. Like, where does all this money
Go.
go? And the thing is, there is nobody to ask. There is nobody to say,
There's
come and
nobody.
borrow me.
Where is my money?
Exactly. So at that point, I started digging deep. I started, trying to research. I started, okay, what can I do? How can I start saving? That was where everything started,
Mm.
and I'm proud to say that right now I'm part of a campaign that is going to help 30 million families by 2030 with
Wow.
financial literacy, because it is very, very key. And the funny thing is that it doesn't matter. Managing
Mm.
money is all about mindset. It doesn't
That's
matter
the
if you've
word.
not done anything like prior to now. All you just need to do is to start exactly where you're at.
Mm.
Start where you're at this very moment. So I know that a lot of people used to feel like I need to have a lot of money, I
That's
need
the
to start
thing.
a business before I can start saving. But the honest truth is that you don't need to like be that wealthy person. You don't
Mm.
need to be the business owner. You can have a 9 to 5 and start where you're at. You
Wow.
can you can start small, and trust me, in no time you will see the fruits of your labor. Yeah.
Billionaire gang, like
I know.
billionaire gang, billionaire in dollars. I'm like
Yeah.
everybody that I see, like, and that was what actually, like, thank you for sharing that. Like, I love that mindset. I think the moment myself, I remember when you first told me about, understanding personal
Yeah.
finances, I knew that I didn't really give you the 100% attention. I'm like, oh, I
Exactly.
beg, I want to get a
Yeah.
job. Let the money even come first.
Exactly.
But
Yes.
I just and I'm glad that I started early, even though I didn't give the 100% reception, but you dropped a seed. You dropped a
Yeah.
seed that germinated. You opened, it was an opening of the eyes,
Yeah.
and that builds mindset.
Mhm.
Like everything starts with your mind.
Everything starts
Like
from the mind. That's right. Yeah. Everything starts
perfect.
from the mind. Yeah.
Mhm. So now let's just talk about, you've actually talked about the fact that I'm actually looking down because I have my laptop here. I have to jot it down because I know if
Okay.
we talk about money, we can talk about money from now to
Yeah.
tomorrow. So
Exactly.
the mindset now, can you also like share something about wealth building? Because people said breaking, I have years, like I said, breaking limiting beliefs around wealth.
Yeah.
Some
Exactly.
people, some of us, we grew up like, in my compound then when I was growing up, my parents, we know there's some people in our area that say, they're the rich people, they're the rich people. And I'm
That's
like,
right.
I'm
Yeah.
the rich woman. I want to be rich. I
Mm.
want to be rich. So how for people that they just want to, like, a lot of people, like, they don't even know the secrets of wealth. I know wealth is not like it starts. It's not like today. It's not like it's going to happen today. But then,
Now,
you talk
yes.
about mindset.
Mhm.
But so what about like for somebody that is building their mindset already? So how do they even break those limiting beliefs? You know,
So
like they need to cut it.
down, exactly. So, the first thing, just like you have said, is to avoid those negative thoughts. First of all, some people just feel like, man, like this money thing is stressful. I don't like math. I don't like to do budgeting, you know. But the
Mm.
honest truth is that if you don't have a plan for your money is going to vanish.
Hmm.
Like you just,
Don't have
even
a
if,
plan for your money will vanish. That's
exactly.
that's the punch
Like even
line.
even the
Mm.
wealthiest, if you don't like apportion where your money should go, before you say jack, you won't even know where your money has gone.
Mm.
So building wealth, there are certain key factors that you have to put into consideration. Number one is time.
Time.
Time is one of the most important things. Time, and then in Canada where we are, taxes and inflation.
Oh God.
Now, you know what? Just post COVID, you know that the world has changed. Like things are so expensive now.
Totally.
You know.
So true.
So
I hear that a
when you
lot.
have a strategy, to start changing your mindset to start building money, you need to think of ways that you can grow that money to hedge against inflation. Because if you are
Mm,
putting money away, what $100 could do 5 years ago is different from what $100 can do now.
okay.
If you go into the grocery store with $100, you will come out with very, very little of
Very, very
few
little.
things. Yeah. And so time is one of the key factors. If you want to grow your money, you need time. Because if you're putting in $50 $100 every month, every 2 weeks, every 3 months, you need time for that money to grow.
Grow. Okay.
And also, you need to also think about taxes. So there are ways that one can, save on taxes. There are ways that
Please
one
tell us.
can
Please tell
reduce your
us.
taxes.
Please tell us. Because I'm like,
Yes.
even our Lord Jesus Christ,
Mm-hmm.
He's
Mm-hmm.
asking us to give
That's
10%. Canada,
correct.
what is
Yeah.
going on? What is going on? What is
Yeah. Taxes are huge because you pay taxes if you're working a 9 to 5, you pay taxes. I'm pretty sure we'll talk about this as we
yes.
go on. But
Yes.
there's an account called the tax-free savings account. So that tax-free savings account, when you put your money there, the growth on your money, you don't pay any taxes on it.
Oh, great.
So, these are
So my
some of
money grow like like people said your
yeah.
money grow like weed, but my own I want it to grow like a tree that has
Mm-hmm,
plenty branches. I
mm-hmm,
don't
mm-hmm.
want weed.
Yeah,
May
yeah.
somebody don't go
It's
fumigate
very, very
up.
doable. It's very doable.
Mm,
It's very, very doable. So, um, breaking limiting beliefs, breaking the fact that even if you didn't learn about money, even if your parents didn't teach you about money, you can start from personal finance podcasts. There's the Dave Ramsey show, there's the Clever Finance Girl.
I
There are
know, right?
books,
I found them
yeah.
recently.
Yeah, there are books that you can actually, start to study so that you can, learn
Learn
how to
about the
begin to
finance.
save. Yeah, exactly. So
So for
yeah.
somebody, so for somebody like me, thank you for sharing that. So the next thing I want to talk about is
Mm-hmm.
budgeting. I mean, I budget, but I don't really put to paper. But coming to Canada and when I started, changing my mindset, number one, I started being interested in where my money goes,
Mm-hmm.
and people started saying, I remember people were talking about budgeting. So for a neutral person, how do you even start budgeting? Like, because even myself, I'm getting more interested in
Learn how
not
to.
just
Yeah.
swiping my card, swiping my card.
Yeah, that's right.
So, how do
So
one get into? Because I remember you talked about budgeting. How do one
that's
get into budgeting, knowing where your money is going and all of
yeah,
that?
yeah. Thank you so much. Very, very key thing. So when I talk about financial planning with my clients, the first thing I start is, do you know how much is coming in?
Mm.
So income versus expenses, right? So you need to have a map. It's just like somebody that is going to Saskatchewan, for instance, without Google Map. Like, how do you want to get there?
How do you want to get there? Even
Yeah.
ordinary years, even in Canada,
Yes,
I don't even think I can drive without a Google Map at
exactly.
all.
So that's it. If you have a goal, if you have a destination, you need a map. And in financial planning, your budget is your map. Because,
Your budget is your map.
yeah, because you would need to outline everything, okay, how much is coming in, what am I going to, so there's this 50-30-20 rule, that people talk about. So
Yes.
50% goes to your expenses, 30% goes into your savings, and 20% can go into your wants. So think about it. Many of the time, if you go into a store right
Mm.
now without planning, okay, I want to spend 200
Hey,
bucks. Trust me, you will see
before
that
you know
9 digit
it,
boss.
before
You will
you
see
know
something
it.
that, yeah. So, and this thing happens to me. Like, if I go grocery shopping, I don't have a list, number one. I don't allocate, okay, maximum, I'm spending 150. Trust me, it's when I enter the store, I'll be like, wow, see this nice croissant.
Nice.
Wow. I like to, that's when, and we are all
You
humans.
not be
It
seeing all
happens
the
to
sales,
everybody.
clearance,
Yeah, all the
sales,
nice, nice
clearance,
things.
sales, clearance.
So, it's really, really crucial that you have a budget and you can use an app, you can use pen and paper, you can and it has to be something that you do periodically. So you can't just budget today and just end it there. It has to be something that you do constantly. So, you know, maybe you're meeting with your spouse or your partner, or if you're single, you're doing it personally on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis.
Basis.
But you need to outline what is coming in and what is going out.
Going out.
It's very, very, very key.
Very
Yeah.
important.
Very important. It's your map. It's your
It's your
map.
mouth.
Think
Thank you
of it
for
that way.
that's a
Yeah.
punchline, and I think I will never forget that your budget is your map. It's your map for your
Yeah.
finances. If you don't have a budget, you're obviously going to get lost in the
Exactly.
financial road. So now, because I know that we have a very limited time, and I'm really hoping that we can even have more time to talk about this. So now I want us to talk about handling debt,
Mm-hmm.
because besides debt's another thing that is preventing a lot of people from achieving their financial goals or from getting their finances right. They have people that they are paying.
Mm-hmm.
So can you talk about handling debts? I know people always talk about that good debt, there are bad debt,
Yeah,
and here
exactly.
in Canada there is credit card. You would think
Loud
before I
it,
thought it
loud
was a
it,
free money. I'm like,
loud it.
$2,000 free.
I know.
DJ, play me. I'm rich girl. I'm rich.
Yeah. So, trust me, when I came to Canada at first, I thought that, man, this $1,000 credit card he gave me, I
We're
can
gonna
just,
swim it.
yeah, I can just be swiping. And, it's the mindset that a lot of newcomers have that, oh, somebody was telling me the other day that she wants to go shopping. And I was like, ah, really? Oh, do you have the phone? She said, ah, credit card now. And I'm like, eh? So, one thing that erodes people's wealth in this part of the world is credit. 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 We can't speak about this thing because a lot of people, and one thing about credit that you should know is that it's not a bad thing in itself. You need that credit. You need that credibility because if you want to buy a home, if you want to finance a car, like there are certain things that you want to do that you can't even do
Yeah.
if you don't have credit history. But when you're taking that credit, you need to put some things at the back of your mind that first of all, this is not
This is
cash.
not cash.
Credit is not cash.
Mm.
You know, so make sure that you're utilizing your credit well. You're not utilizing more than 30% of the balance on your credit card. And you're making sure that you're paying it back before the end of that cycle. Now, a lot of people get into the habit of paying minimum payments.
Mm.
That will bite you in the leg. And the reason for that is because think about it. Every month, somebody is paying $200 interest. This is
Oh my God.
$200 that could have gone into your savings.
Savings. So you're
Into
making
your
the rich,
savings.
richer.
Yeah, exactly. And you have all these payday loans, buy now, pay
I
later,
mean, we went myself
cash
and my
for you.
husband. We went to the sorry
Mm-hmm,
to cut. Myself and my husband went to the to the mall,
mm-hmm.
and I saw like a ring shop and saying buy wedding ring and pay 20. It was in 2024. That was last year, and
Yeah.
said pay 2026.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, so in this Canada, people are wearing
Ring that they have not
debt
paid for.
ring.
That's it.
I'm like,
That's it. That's it. And you have good debt and you have bad debt. Good debt is, things like mortgage, buying a home.
I love it.
You're actually trying to build equity. You can also have some student loans. Like it's a good thing to upskill. It's a good thing to learn more. It's a good thing to, go from bachelor's to master's and all
Masters.
all of that. But when you're taking debt, think about it. Is it something that is going to appreciate and not depreciate?
For sure. Okay.
Yeah, because when people take debts or take a loan to start a business, of course, a business is something that can earn them more money. So that is one of the things that you should have at the back of your mind. Now, there are some things that, when you have debt, it's not the end of the world,
It's
right?
not.
It's not. So have a realistic plan on how you're going to pay that debt back. Like if you
That's
have a
why.
$1,000 credit card right now and you're owing, for example, $800, instead of just wallowing in, oh my god, this is so much, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. You can start small by putting away $50.
Mm,
And before you say jack, that credit card is paid off.
wow.
you know so you have two types of debt repayment
Okay.
methods. There's the debt snowball and there's the debt avalanche method. So
Interesting.
snowball is when maybe you have three or four credit cards. You start from the smallest. So that one, some people just, they feel encouraged when, they're able to pay off
Yeah.
$500 or $1,000 credit card, pay that one off, and then they move on to the next.
Yes.
Debt
One.
avalanche is when you start paying off your credit
Okay.
cards or lines of credit or loans, starting
Okay.
from the one that has the highest
Oh,
interest.
the highest.
Because
Okay, I
think
get it.
about it, credit cards, many of them have interest rates from 19 to
Oh my
22%.
God.
That is a lot.
That is the
That
Lord.
is a lot.
That is
And
the Lord.
somebody was telling me the other day, the guy hadn't even spent 2 weeks in Canada. They were offering him $5,000 credit card.
That's it.
Come and increase your credit
That's
limits.
what
And
Rogers gave me. Rogers gave me 6,000. I'm
uh-huh,
like,
imagine. So some people just, and I wouldn't say that to take that credit limit increase is bad,
mm-hmm.
because for some people that know how to manage their finances
Well,
well, if you take it when they give you, it might be a good thing, because when you need it most, you already have
already.
it. It's not that time you now start going to the bank asking them to, approve you for more. But
Yes.
you need to be cautious, because for people who don't know how to manage their money well, when you take all this credit limit increases, you're entering into more and more and more debt.
Wow.
And debt is something that it's like you're going down a rabbit hole. You need
One
God
might
to
not
bring
come
you
out
out.
easily. Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Thank you for opening. Thank you for opening, our highs, even my highs, because I never imagined that, you pay like 20% for every, but
yeah,
one thing I just do is like the moment I came to Canada, like I just make sure that I don't like, number one, I don't have more than one credit card. Number two is I always keep top of the time that I'm meant to pay.
yeah. Very
And
good.
also, I also,
Very
just like what you mentioned, like I make sure that I don't spend more than like 30 to 40% and I
yeah,
return it back. Like I treat my credit card as like as my debit card, in the sense, like even though it's credit
yeah.
card, I still treat it like my debit card because I have it in a mind that I must return it
Exactly.
back. And I know a lot of people, especially as like I'm also a newcomer, like what you just shared, I'm sure if a lot of people listen to it, it's going to save them from a whole lot. Because I
Exactly.
remember one thing you said the money that should have gone to your savings, you're literally using to service a credit
Exactly. Interest. Yeah,
or
interest.
an interest. Yeah. So let's talk about like this is just gonna be a two-in-one
Yeah.
question. Like let's talk about saving habits. Like how do you do, because I remember you were talking about how you were able to like keep track of your money when you were a
Mm-hmm.
student. So and I'm sure that has even been part of you even till
Yeah.
now.
It's
So
part of
can you just advise somebody on how to build a saving habit? Because I know, if I know, like there's a lot of movie on there's a recent, like there's this book, Smart Woman, something that I mean that was the first time I'm hearing that some people like they usually live from paycheck to paycheck, like they
yeah.
spend
It's
all of their
paycheck
money.
to paycheck.
And it's
Yeah.
not their fault. It's good to have a good taste. I mean, myself, I have a good taste. Obviously, I growing up, like when I started working, I usually like save. I mean, I saved like 80% of my money when I was like in my
Wow.
20s. Yes, that was what
Good
I was doing.
girl.
And when I now came into my 30s, I'm like, I want to enjoy life. Enough of saving. But now I have to remind myself. So this is not like you when you advise. You also advise somebody
Mhm.
that used to be saving, but now I'm starting like spending.
Yeah.
So please draw me back home.
Yeah.
How do you
So
build and how
actually,
do you maintain a stable saving lifestyle.
Yeah. Now, to be honest, when we talk about savings, we are going back to the basics, mindset,
Mind setting.
mindset.
Set your mind.
Set your mind on that thing. I was talking to a student this morning. She's 18. And I was like, "Oh, have you started a savings account?" She said, "Yes." I was like, "Wow, that's awesome. How much?" She said, $50. I was like, "Go girl. That is how to start with, that savings mindset. You start small. You start small. And the next thing is you automate your savings.
That's the word.
Automate your
Automate.
savings. Yeah.
The way they automate
Um,
their tax, automate
exactly.
your saving.
There are people that feel like, "Oh, don't worry, I just want to put the money anytime I have
Mm,
it." You will not have it. You will not have it. So, I usually encourage my clients. I say, okay, they say, "Oh, I don't have 200 bucks to save." I said, "Okay, that's fine. Do you have 100?" If they say, "Oh, I don't have 100," I say, "Okay, do you have 50?" At least you will have 50 now. If you don't have 50, you have 20. You know, just start from where you are at. Okay?
mm,
And then have a goal in mind. Have a goal in mind. Like, if you're in your 30s right now, there's no harm in planning for retirement from now.
mm.
You know, you can start saving towards that because you know that retirement is going to be in the next 30 years, or if you're 40, it's going to be in the next 20, 25 years. So, because of the fact that you need time to grow that your money, you can start now.
That's now.
So, um, I would say that in Canada here we have different kinds of accounts that you can utilize. You can utilize your tax-free savings
Yeah,
account, the TFSA.
FSC.
So this account, you're saving your money, you're investing, you're growing your money without paying any taxes as long as you stay within your contribution room.
Oh,
That's one. And then secondly, you have the FHSA. So, first home savings account. If you want to purchase a home, if you have that goal in the next 3 to 5 years, you can start out now. And when you put money in that account, you're going to save on taxes at your workplace. You
mm,
have the RRSP, the Registered Retirement Savings Plan. You can start by planning your retirement, and any amount of money you put in your RRSP saves you taxes at your work. Even if you're a business owner, you can also save on taxes as well. And then you have the RESP. I was telling you
yeah,
yesterday
you were
about
telling me, yeah.
education planning for kids. You don't want your children to start out life taking loans.
Mm,
You know, it's going to set them down that rabbit hole. So your $100, your $50, your $200 right now is going to have a huge impact in the future. Like I saw a recent report that stated that, you know, a child starting university will need like an average of 65,000 for a 4-year program.
wow.
And guess what? If you're putting in, $200 from now, in the next 18 years, if it is a newborn, you have more than enough. So at
Mm,
that time, your children are going to university. You, as the parent, you don't have to struggle to start tapping
looking
into your
for
retirement savings or looking for money, or even you taking going to take debt if you don't want
one.
the child to be the one to take the debt.
Mm,
So these are things that you can avoid by planning. If you want to go on a vacation, like name your savings. This one is for vacation, this one is for retirement, this one is for buying a home, and then start working towards your goal.
mm.
So that's what I would encourage everyone that is listening, start where you're
That's
at
where you
and
are.
automate your savings.
And I think another thing again, like one of the things I actually learned from what you just said is when you're able to like categorize your savings, like you are engaging your savings on a purpose, it kind of gear you,
It
not that you're just
exactly
in a
teaches
random
you.
saving. It
That's
kind
right.
of
It teaches you.
inspires, like a
Yeah.
self-motivation and say, okay, this is towards, and I think that's something I'm going to actually also incorporate. I just save, like I'm saving, I'm just putting money aside
Anyway,
because
yeah.
I always feel a level of palpitation when I'm paying people too much. I'm paying house rent, paying this. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's right. Yeah.
So and
And you
I
know,
think,
yeah,
mhm.
go on,
And that
yeah.
was actually what motivated my savings. I just wanted to feel good that I have money.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my mental
Yes.
health.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? If you don't put that money away, there are people that have plan for that money.
Hmm.
Netflix has plan, and your car payment has plan,
As
insurance
plan.
has, and everybody
Insurance
has a plan.
as plan.
Yeah. So, it's very key to, set that, money aside
Mm.
so that, the money doesn't get used for other things. Yeah.
All right, so thank you so much. And also on this page, like I know a lot of people are married. I have a lot of friends that are married, and both of us were also happily married. So can you talk about like can you just share some financial what do I call it tips for couples, how to
Okay.
make sure that they grow their wealth, they cut their their expenses, they I know you talk about it like preparing for your children, but we're just going to be wrapping on this. For couples, can you share some financial tips for them?
So I would say, as a couple, first things first, you need to work as a
You
team.
need to work as a team.
Yeah. So think about it. If one person just has the goal of, oh, I want to buy a property or something, and only that person is working towards it, it's going to be tougher. It's going to take more time. It's going to be
Mm.
harder. It's going to be more painful, you know? So if both spouses can put their heads together and begin to work as a team, divide and conquer, you know?
Mm.
The other thing too is that um, things like budgeting.
Yeah.
You have to sit down with your spouse periodically, outline everything.
Family
What are
meeting.
the goals? Family meeting. What are the goals? What do we want to achieve? Just like we talked about education savings, let everybody be on the same page.
On the same
Because
page.
if everyone is not on the same page, one spouse can drag the other spouse down,
Mm.
or one spouse can be the spender, or if one spouse is just, diving a lot into
Especially
debt, it can drag the
human
family down.
hair.
Yeah, exactly. It can drag the family down. Think about it. If you want to buy a property or go into any form of credit, they will look at the credit of both spouses. So that's why it's essential to work as a team. It's essential to plan as a team. I was just on Instagram the other day, and I saw a couple that talked about how they achieved financial independence and they were able to retire early. What did they do? One spouse was using their income for expenses, the other spouse was saving the money.
Mm.
Saving and investing.
And investing.
Yes. So just imagine that couple weren't on the same page. Now they are 45 and they have retired.
Wow.
So
45.
yeah, so when you work as a
Mhm.
team, when it comes to financial planning, you would get to your destination faster. And think about it. I also educate people about getting insurance coverages for the family. Life insurance is very important. It's something that you can't do without.
Mm.
As a family that you have children, you have people that are dependent upon you, you have people that are dependent upon your income, it's important that you set something aside to get a life insurance coverage that would cover the family in the event that the unexpected happened. I
Mm.
also talk about other insurance coverages that the family can also have. Critical illness. Like I was just I saw a statistic recently that in Canada, 1 in 2 people would come down with cancer in their lifetime. The way the world is going, healthcare is critical right now. So if you are the breadwinner of the family or you're actually bringing in money and a critical illness comes up, how would your children feed? How would you pay your
I
mortgage
mean,
or your
these
rent?
are our discussions, and these are very necessary
Yes,
discussions to have.
yes, these are very necessary discussions to have, even as a family, because at times one spouse wants something, the other spouse doesn't. So that's why you need to have consistent and periodic conversations around these
Mm.
things. Like putting in place necessary documents such as will, power of attorney documents. These are things that are not talked about. But in the event that the unexpected occurred, those things will come in and save the family.
Mm.
So yeah, very, very
Wow.
key. Very key.
You just shared, like, I mean, we're still going to definitely have this conversation
Again.
again. Like, I'm really looking forward to, because
Yeah.
I mean, we literally, like, so at this point, like, everybody, if you're joining us or you're going to be watching this, we're talking about getting your finances right,
Yeah.
right? And we've literally moved from talking about building your mindset, like you knowing that your finances have to be right. And because I know, like, I think I was watching a podcast and a guy said a lot of people don't even check their bank, maybe their statement of account. They
Yeah.
don't. And
Yes.
I'm like, I'm one of those people. And it was afterwards, he said, a lot of you just, you just do your life
Yeah.
without like investigating. And the moment I had it, I started taking attention to my statement of account, not just, even though I know that inside of me, I'm keeping track of how I spend my money and making sure that I don't go beyond my, like, I am more of the spender. My husband is more of the savings. And when we
Saver.
got married, he just dropped on me because my husband is always giving me one side eye. And when the side eye
Yeah.
is not working, it changes for me. Oh, madam, we cannot be spending money that way. Or you ask me, how much have you paid today? How much have you got
Yeah.
out from him? And then we literally move to like budgeting. And I love what you said, that budgeting is a map for your
Yeah.
finances. And you need to start taking budgeting serious.
Exactly.
Because if you don't budget, you're going to go into that store, you're going to see clearance, you're going to see sales,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be keep buying and buying. And I remember you also said something like, if you don't, if you fail to have plan for your money, other people will have plan for your
Exactly.
money.
Yeah.
Netflix, we have plan for your money.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody
Mm-hmm.
they have
Every
plans for
other
your money.
person has a plan.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We also talk about managing your credit, which is very important. I know you also talk about, like, one of the most striking thing that I think I would definitely take from these is especially the area where you were talking about, managing your finances as a couple. You need
Yeah.
to have financial meetings. Like, you need
Exactly.
to have, like, myself and my husband, we just talk randomly about finances when we're in the car, and maybe in the, like, periodically, depending on what wants to come up. But hearing it from you again, it just, make me feel like we're doing the right thing for
Exactly.
ourselves, for our family,
Yeah.
and we can always like build on better. But there's still more conversation we need to talk about, like, lives of, in the cases of eventualities, people, we don't pray for that, but I mean, life happens, and it's just important that about, like, we prepare around about it. And I really want us to still talk about it, but because of we have our babies,
Yeah.
we have a lot of things going on. We're going to have part two, and I'm sure a lot of people are interested. We're going to have part two. So I just want you to give your final words, like, for people, like, the topic is getting your finances right. So I want you to give your financial, because you're a financial expert. I mean, this is what you are doing, and this is what you've been doing for years. So I want you to talk about people that have not, like, give a final of people that have not yet getting their finances right, and for people that are also getting their finances right.
Right.
And now people can also get in contact with you, because I know you are the expert. Somebody might want to reach out to you. I'm also collaborating with you on, for this, recording. So yeah, over to you.
Okay. I'm so
I,
happy. Like
I
Ife, I'm
am.
so happy that we're able to
I
do this today.
am.
So final words from me is that first things first, managing money is all about mindset. So get your mindset right. Start thinking about the fact that, oh, instead of saying I can't afford this, say how can I afford
Mm,
this? So you can even, we're talking yesterday about how you can even make more money. Make more money. You can start a side hustle. You can start a business. You can, because the way the world is going now, like things are becoming more expensive.
little is not enough again.
Little is not enough. Inflation is real. So I was just watching a podcast recently, and the guy was like, you don't have any business on social media if you are living
If
paycheck to
you're,
paycheck.
if you're not ready
Like,
from it.
use that time to upskill, get a raise at work, learn a skill, like do something so that you can be able to start saving. You can be able to start making passive income by putting money away and investing that money.
Mm,
you know Automate your savings, very, very key. Automate your savings. Avoid lifestyle creep. Don't go on a vacation on your credit card when you know you don't have that money to pay it back.
Back.
So plan ahead, plan for things, plan for that house, for that mortgage, for that vacation, for that children's education. Plan. Have a roadmap, you know, for your finance, and get the right protection strategies in place. Insurance, a lot of people feel like insurance, I'm too young, I don't want to get it. Or you I have some people say that, oh, if I get this insurance coverage right now, I don't think I would ever need it. But you don't want to be in a situation where you need it and you don't have it.
Mm.
So get the right insurance in place. Have that life insurance coverage, because it's a privilege and not a right. If you're not healthy, you won't even have the opportunity to get it.
Mm.
Get that critical illness coverage, get that disability insurance coverage. Get the right documents in place. Have a will, have a power of attorney. There are free online tools that you can use to,
Make
set
it
up all of
happen.
these things. Yeah. And also, last but not the least, start growing your wealth. You
Mm.
need time, and you also need to put it in a place where you pay less taxes if possible, you know,
Yeah.
and also an account where you can hedge against inflation. So
Mm.
these are some of the nuggets that I want everyone listening right now to begin
To
to
take
implement. And
advantage
if you
of.
are already on track, there's no harm in doing better. There's no harm in learning more. Like, I was just doing a quick Google search. You have some books, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Psychology of Money. Start learning more about personal finance, about how to achieve financial independence and retire early.
Retire early.
Retire early, oh my sister.
Retire early. Oh.
Yeah, yeah. So
Wow, wow.
thank you so much. It was
This
such
is
an
such an
awesome
exciting and
time. Yeah,
yeah, insightful
yeah.
conversation about money.
Hmm.
And like I would say, anybody that is joining us, please, the conversation is going to run throughout the week, and then I'm really hoping that my friend will do more videos and say it
Yeah,
could be even 1 minute and say today we're talking
that's
about how to
right.
stop that your debts.
That's
Today,
right.
we're talking about how it could be just in one thing because we all
Do
want to
one thing.
listen, we want
Yeah,
to learn, a little there, a little there, a little there, and before you know it, you become old, you become
exactly. Yeah.
because this world you will have to be will be rich.
We'll be rich
God needs
though.
us to be rich. The
That's
kingdom
right.
needs our money,
Hmm.
and so thank you so much for the time. Thank you everybody that has joined and that's gonna join or listen to this. Like I said, please drop your comment, drop your questions in the comment section. We're all going to be addressing it. My friend is going to be addressing it throughout the week.
Go on,
So I would say thank you and thank you for
thank
coming.
you. Thank